My mind's
There we go.
um my mind's kind of boggled. Um,
No, it's not that big of a deal, dude.
yeah, I know. But for a normie like me, like I came from a background of like Islam and Christianity. Like one half of my family is Islam, one half Christianity. So Satanism, like for those people, if they heard the word Satanism, it would be like, what are you doing? But I'm very interested.
So my family is also Christian. Um,
Hmm.
and some of them I wouldn't mention it. Other ones they know, right? Like families are families.
For real, for real. Okay. Are you having a good day? Before I ask any deep questions, are you having a good day? Like, are you
Yeah.
all right?
It's just getting started. Thank you for asking. But yeah, it's
Cool, cool.
been a really good day.
Just
I
getting
got up early today and um just taking the day as it comes.
for you. Yeah. I woke up this morning like absolutely like bedridden, dizzy. It was not fun,
Man,
but
sorry.
I'm happy I'm doing this. So can I ask? Can I let's get started. What made you a Satanist? Like, what was the turning point, or like, how did you get into that stage?
So, like I said, I grew up Christian and
Mm,
like a very heavily religious household. Um,
yeah.
I was a bit of a rebellious teenager-ish, young teenager, and I
Mm,
started reading about Anton LaVey and the Satanic Bible, and my friends and I tried to do this sort of like demon conjuring thing when we were younger. Um, and so, but then after that, I moved away from it. It just seemed sort of silly to me. Um,
mm,
at least that particular version of it. And then,
yeah.
I explored a lot of Eastern traditions, Eastern philosophies. And then maybe a couple years ago, I started to look into Satanism again, mostly for political reasons. So the political climate in the US, I don't know if you're aware, is like
Mm,
very heavily dominated by Christian nationalism at this point.
yeah.
And I wanted to sort of more actively work against that trend. And the Satanic Temple was doing a really good job, I thought, of using the US's religious freedom laws to to offer a counter narrative to Christian
Mm.
nationalism. And that's sort of when I got involved, and I've been getting more and deeper involved ever since.
And now you're like one of the directors.
Yeah, I've got a leadership position now.
Mm,
Had it for a while. I mean, it, just sort of happened, right?
yeah. Well done. So I have a couple questions. What Eastern what did you say? Eastern.
Yeah, Eastern philosophies.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so mostly Taoism, and
Mm,
also Buddhism, and probably a little bit less like Hinduism,
mm.
only because Buddhism is so rooted in Hinduism. But at it, like I still hold a lot of those same beliefs. I think. One of the nice things about Satanism is that it's very individualistic. So you can be
Yeah.
any kind of Satanist that you really want to be. Um, and so, there's a lot of people who are very ritualistic
Mm,
Satanists. They, they do ceremonies and things like that. But I,
yeah.
but Buddhism is very against ritual. And so I sort of have
Okay.
carried that idea into my Satanism. So I'm not like a particularly ritualistic Satanist. Like don't go to black masses or, chant things or anything like that. Like I just don't find much use for ritual. Um,
So what do those rituals actually look like?
so, I should say I have very little experience in that, honestly,
Mm,
right? Because I'm so not ritualistic. But
yeah.
I mean, they're different, and we have an internal process for people to submit rituals. So you can describe a ritual that you want to do. It'll go through a
Yeah.
committee process. It's all very bureaucratic, and people can comment on it, and it'll get approved. If it's public, it'll get approved or
Mm.
changes recommended. Um, and these things range from the really simple, um, saying some kind of invocation, doing something. Maybe if it's an unbaptism, you sort of do the baptismal washing with water.
Mm.
If it's a black mass, maybe you do some kind of like mock consecration of a Eucharist or something like that. Um,
Mm.
if it's I mean, sometimes if it's like a funeral ritual, you just sort of say some stuff to memorialize the person. Um, they are, there's no real standard. In fact, we're thinking and talking about standardizing, because there's so much variation in what people do. Um,
Yeah.
but again,
That's-
like it's all individualistic, right? So like, do your ritual the way you want to do your ritual.
yeah, exactly. But like by doing that, don't you think like you could technically have like a whole spectrum of people in the religion, and part of that could be really bad. Like like the Church of Satan and the Order of the Nine Angels, they kind of
Yeah,
not really part of your group because it's different like congregations, right?
yeah. So, I always tell people like Satanism is like any other religion. There's a spectrum of beliefs and practices. There
Mm.
are, denominations is like maybe the word to use, right?
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah, there's different satanic denominations, and um, like that's just sort of the way it is, right? I mean, Catholicism and Protestantism are really different things in a lot of ways. And just like the Church of Satan and TST are very different denominations. Uh,
Mm.
and that to me is just evidence of like a vibrant and sort of evolving set of beliefs and practices. So it's all very healthy as far as I'm concerned, except for the fact that there's a lot of people doing some really nasty shit,
Mm.
in the name of Satanism, and that's unfortunate. Um, I understand, I think, a little bit where that comes from because of like the kind of general association with like quote unquote evil.
Yeah,
Um,
the stigmas.
but I think those people just actually really don't get it, right? I think the thing is, it's like they sort of like embrace this evil that other people have
Mm.
defined, which to me is just, kind of sad. Um, whereas, I think for most Satanists, what we're about is embracing this idea of evil for the purposes of proving that it's not evil, right? That's
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought you guys were getting at.
yeah. Because I mean, the fact of the matter is that like, Satan is not the reason for evil in the world. People are the reason for evil in the world. And
Mm.
there's a lot of really nasty things that have been done in the name of Jesus, or Muhammad, right? Or whoever. And it's, when people try to hold up themselves as these like paragons of virtue, and really they're just hypocrites, that's the sort of thing that we're here to point out.
Mm. So, I have a more personal question, and then I have like one going deeper into this point. Kind of forgot the deeper one.
Ask away.
Uh, so the you could probably say most Westerners nowadays are like to your standards because I looked at the what's it called 11 tenets,
7.
7 tenets. Sorry, not the 11. Can't remember. It was the other one that had the 11. I think it was the Church of
Yeah, Church of
Satan.
Satan, I think, make up 11 something or others.
Yeah. Anyway, by that description of the 7 tenets, you could probably say most Westerners nowadays are Satanists because a lot of people are trying to look like for that individualism.
Right.
Do
So
you, do you understand what I'm getting at?
yeah, I think one of the reasons why the 7 tenets work is that they are just like some fairly obvious secular beliefs.
Mm,
Like, you should have empathy for people. You should like not be an asshole. Like,
exactly.
like believe in science. Like, I mean, these are all things that like should not need to be said, right?
Mm,
But I guess we just live in a world where we need to like write them down and make them doctrine in order for people to take them seriously.
yeah,
At least, maybe people just don't think enough about what it is that they believe. And so putting them down into words and making a list out of it is like maybe the only way to communicate with people about it right now.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
That's maybe a more generous way of putting it. Um,
yeah. And my more personal question
yeah.
is, so you said you wanted, like, you went into Satanism to kind of rebel against the uh, Christian nationalism in the US, right? So do you think you mainly went into Satanism just for that, or were you actually interested in religion? Or like on a scale, which one would you say is higher?
So I started out being interested in the political aspects of it. Um,
Yeah.
so actually, like it's a weird story, but like a couple years, I don't know, maybe 2022 or something like that. I
Mm,
I had never heard of the Satanic Temple, and I started looking into Satanism for the same reasons that they were actually doing their work, which was that I saw all of these Christians using laws to make sure that their religion was favored in the public
yeah.
square. And I
Mm,
was like, if a Satanist tried to do these things, like they would completely lose their shit. And
mm,
right. And then I looked at the Church of Satan and was like, well, wait, I don't believe these things. This is not a project for me. But then, years later, and it's weird because TST had already been around for a while. But it really wasn't until like 2023 that I even knew about them. And I was like, oh, these guys are doing the thing that I thought of doing. Like, and it seems like it's working. I should just totally join up. Right. And that's
mm,
sort of how I got here. What I'll say though is that once I started getting more involved in TST and learning more about Satanism and reading the scholarship of it, I decided that it was actually extremely compatible with my existing belief system and made a whole lot of sense in terms of like my sort of spiritual trajectory. And so,
mm.
um, so I've just sort of like signed up, ever since. And now I end up talking about it like this all the time.
Well, you've had multiple calls like this.
Oh, sure. I get a few a week.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, yeah. I
Oh, by
mean,
the way, thank you very much for letting me do this. This is
oh yeah.
like,
This is like one of my favorite parts of the job, to be honest. It's like a lot of a lot of this work is actually like weirdly bureaucratic and administrative, but like
yeah.
this is actually the part that I probably enjoy the most. Um, but yeah, I do like two or three of these interviews a week.
Mm. So compared to like, hmm, I was gonna say normal life, but
Mhm.
compared to like Christian life, since Christianity is the norm-ish in
Yeah, I
the
mean, it's the main.
how does a Satanist life like what does a day in your life look like?
I mean,
That
so
was,
it looks no different to me.
oh, right.
Um, I, I think again, it's like there's just a range of beliefs and practices. And so, for I know a lot of Christians who don't really go to church, right?
Yeah.
I know a lot of Christians who go to church once a week, and that's the only time they ever think about God or Jesus or anything. And then I know Christians who, pray every day and before every meal and constantly talking about like bringing Jesus into your life. Like
Mm,
there's a range of beliefs and practices everywhere in every religion. So, you know, a day for each of those Christians looks really different. And a day for any particular Satanist looks really different. I mean,
mm,
my days have not changed other than I spend more time working for the church, right? I just spend more time doing satanic stuff on
mm.
behalf of the Satanic Temple.
Oh, cool. All right, a big question now. The whole like I know the TST doesn't really like worship the devil or Satan, but like I know you can since to your description, some people can in the TST, right?
I mean, it's possible that there are theistic TST members
Mm.
out there. It's not like a requirement. I think that they would find it weird and uncomfortable, though. I think that,
Right.
well, because I think most people in TST like are scientific materialists. Like they would believe that what science can tell us about the natural and therefore supernatural worlds is is what we know about it. And belief otherwise is really not worth your time. And so
Mm.
I think that anyone who would disagree with that um, would, or at least anyone who is going to insist on some kind of supernatural satanic belief would just
Mm.
not have a whole lot to do around TFT, right? Like
Right.
they would just be like, oh, these are not my people. Um,
Yeah.
there's other theistic groups out there that I think they would be much more aligned with. And so, I think once they realize that we don't worship Satan and we aren't there to like get the devil to make us rich, then they sort of just disappear, right? I mean, I get again like a couple emails a week that are like, I want to join so that I can learn how to defeat my enemies and become
Cast magic.
yeah, and you're just like that's not, dude, like read the website. Like that's not what we're
Yeah.
about. So
Well, I won't lie. I wanted to do the same thing. I was like, can I learn a little spell? No, no. I was genuinely curious. But yeah, you could. So, what makes you guys different from religions like Scientology and humanism? Then,
Scientology um is an interesting comparison. I guess in the sense that like we're both sort of new-ish religions in the world is
mm.
maybe is maybe a similarity. But Scientology's beliefs are like based on like alien technology. Um,
Oh,
it's a weird thing. The whole like getting clear and using that like I don't know, that like weird multimeter thing to like determine how much alien energy you've got in you. Like it's been a while since I've looked at it, but uh,
I haven't even looked at it at all. But
no,
I thought the like the general consensus on Scientology is that it just follows science. You know what
no,
I'm saying?
no, that's actually not at all what it's about. Yeah, yeah, it uses that word, I think, to like appear to be rational. Um,
Mm.
but in fact, it's like no, it's actually like a bunch of pseudoscientific beliefs about memory engrams and
Oh wow,
an alien technology and the
that's
science.
kind of cool though.
I mean, like I said, like I've been on a spiritual journey, and there was a time when I read Dianetics and looked at Scientology, um, and it somehow starts to make sense to you at some point, and then you're like, wait a minute, this is just weird. Um,
Mm.
and so I ditched it pretty quick. But yeah, and then as far as what was the other one you mentioned? I forgot.
Humanism.
Oh, humanism. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, we have a lot of overlap with humanism, clearly.
Mm.
I think the thing is that I struggle to consider humanism to be a religion, and certainly in the United States, humanism does not have the status of a religious of a religion, and so doesn't get a lot of the protections that a religion would. Um,
Right.
And, being a religion, TST like has some privileges that I think are
Mm.
important, especially in this current cultural climate. Those privileges are really important for being able
Yeah.
to practice your beliefs.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like psychology compared to the other sciences. Like psychology isn't actually it wasn't registered as a science for a long time.
yeah.
I don't know if it still isn't, but compared to the other ones like physics and biology and all that,
Yeah.
it wasn't like it wasn't on the same level.
Yeah, I mean, and partly it's just that
Sorry.
the thing that psychology is trying to study, like the inner workings of the human mind, is
Mm,
is an intangible thing, right? It's
yeah,
you can only find evidence for it in behavior, and so there's it's just hard to put something like that to sort of rigorous scientific, like
yeah,
positivistic um thinking. But that's that's for like philosophers of science to puzzle over. uh,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, go on.
No, go ahead, that's fine. I was just ranting.
So my next question is actually, since you're more the individualistic side, um, since you guys believe in Satanism, could you like indirectly believe in God? Like, as I know you're like what's it called atheistic,
Yeah,
but as a theistic Satanist,
yeah.
like, would they indirectly believe in God to
It's
rebel?
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
I would say it's likely.
Mm,
But I don't think it would be essential, right? Because you could in theory have a Satan without a God. I
so,
well, I mean, it's just you have like some other entity, right? It's just a deity. Um,
mm,
and that would also, require, I think, breaking away from the kind of like traditional texts around Satan, right? So the Satan of the Bible sort of wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. And then, a lot of the like the romantic Satanism that TST sort of adheres to, all
mm,
stuff kind of requires the background of like the God versus Satan narrative. Right. But you could have, I mean, there's, I bet they're out there, right? A non-dualistic satanic group. Um,
yeah.
I mean, it's not absurd.
Mm.
I
It's
don't.
hard to wrap my head around though.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a strange sort of like outlier, I think.
Mm,
But nothing surprises me.
yeah, because I feel like, to my belief, and a lot of like people's like belief, like like the story is so like deep in history of like God and Satan or God v Satan that it's kind of hard to take one away fully. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, and I wouldn't, and I don't think most Satanists would, because
Mm,
I think that adversarial relationship is really essential to what it means to be a Satanist. Um,
mm.
but you know, to each their own.
So your general philosophy, just to like outline to people if they watch this video,
Mhm.
your general philosophy in Satanism for the TST. Please, can you tell me?
Well, okay, so generally we are non-theistic, right? So we don't
Mm,
believe in a literal Satan. The Satan we draw inspiration from is the romantic Satan that, sort of comes around in Paradise Lost, Milton's work. That's sort of, I guess, even though that is not a romantic text, it's one that like the romantic writers were very enamored with, right? So that's where,
yeah.
and in fact, that's where like a lot of like Christian ideas of like stories of Satan come from.
Mm,
Satan in the Bible actually makes very few appearances. So
yeah. Yeah.
like the word literally in Hebrew just means adversary, right? So that's an important point to make. Whether the snake in the Garden of Eden is Satan, that's really
Mm. I
um
feel like that's the big one. That's the big like Satan must be real because he was that snake. You know
Yeah.
what I
Um, and so, like it's not even clear that like it's never named Satan, right?
mean? Exactly.
It
Exactly.
like it's all very speculative. Um,
Mm,
Satan does appear, I think, in the book of Job, where he's like, "Hey God, you should maybe test this guy Job to see if he really like believes
mm,
or if he just likes you because you gave him stuff." Um, and then I don't know, in like maybe Revelation, like Satan makes an appearance. Oh, Satan tempts Jesus and the devil in the
yeah.
desert. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, where he's like, "Hey, maybe don't like go into the desert and starve yourself, and like actually just eat some food and drink some water."
Yeah.
Um,
And then he
just a
does
horrible, horrible thing to say to someone. Um,
it.
what an evil creature Satan must be to
Yeah.
try to offer Jesus water. Um, so that sort of is, I guess, maybe where Milton colors a lot of that stuff in, right? And um, So we we take on that mantle of adversarialism, right? We are the people who look at the scapegoating that's been done largely by
Mm.
Christians to say Satan is this, that's why there's evil in the world. We must get rid of Satan. And
Yeah,
we say no. Actually, it's all a lot more complicated than that. Satan is here to remind us about rebelling against arbitrary authority, um,
yeah,
standing up for ourselves, right? Empowering ourselves to make our own
mm,
decisions, um, to not simply like bend the knee because we are told to do so and get in line. Um, we draw inspiration from that idea, right? And that we try to operationalize that in a lot of ways. And one of those ways is, by fighting against Christian nationalism, um,
yeah,
but also by personally empowering yourself to say, I am responsible for my situation in life. And I am the one who's going to like dig me out of whatever hole I'm in. And I'm also the one who like deserves credit for my successes, right? Um,
yeah. So if
so
anything, in your view, it holds your members more accountable.
I'm
That's what
sorry,
I'm kind of.
you broke up for a second. How do I remember is what?
It's almost like the religion as a whole keeps people more accountable.
I would hope it does. And I certainly think that there are people out there who either one do shitty things and think that they are doing God's will.
Mm,
Two do shitty things, and even though they know they're shitty, they will assume that they will get forgiveness from God if they ask for it. So it doesn't really
yeah.
hurt them. Um, and we're immune to all of that stuff, right? Like we need to take responsibility for our own actions because we recognize that they are decisions that we make. um,
Mm,
so yeah, so it does become much more accountable. And I would add too that one of the largest groups within the Satanic Temple is Sober Faction, which is our version of Alcoholics Anonymous, which is really a
I heard
self-empowerment
about
version of that system, right? It's about being accountable and understanding that like your addiction is within your control. It's not, you don't need to like, bow down to God in order to like, cure
that.
yourself of alcoholism. Like, you need to actually take steps in your life to rid yourself of alcoholism, right?
Yeah. Mm,
So yeah, I mean, we are much more about self-empowerment
mm,
um, than other, and certainly the Christian faiths.
yeah. So the way you guys like go against Christian nationalism, it's not just the bad, like, because it kind of sounds like you guys like go against the whole thing, but it's more just like when they're being like hypocritical or like they abuse the power. Is that more
So
like?
yes, I think that that's where we aim, right? And
Mm,
you need to understand that this is happening largely in the context of the U.S. political system.
yeah,
We have laws about religious freedom that some places just don't have, right? And we never really had a state religion. And there are people who are trying to establish a state religion, and that goes against, all of American history. Certainly, it like generations of legal precedent. Um,
mm,
and without people being adversarial, right? Without other groups standing up and saying, no, you can't be allowed to do this, I think it would simply like steamroll the entire system. I mean, it's almost doing it already, even with opposition. And so
mm,
I think it's really important that there's adversaries out there who are willing to stand up for, what are the real traditions of our country.
yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Okay. How would you? You said your normal life doesn't really change that much
Yeah.
because you probably. you're probably getting at like most people that join already live like sort of an individualistic life, you know?
Yeah. Um, there's a lot to say about the people that join our community, and I think
Yeah.
the
A lot of people probably think like crazy piercings, tattoos everywhere, which is fine. I'm just saying like these are the like what's it called? Stereotypes that most
right,
people will think about.
right.
Would you
Um,
say they're good? Would you say they're stereotypes for a reason, or would you say like no, that's not actually the case?
so I'm trying to think of the people that I interact with
Mm,
on a daily, like, weekly basis, and I would say that 90% of them do not fit that description. Um,
really?
there's, but that's maybe like there's some selection bias there, I think,
Yeah.
because um, you know, I I interact with leadership a lot. Like, I interact with people who like are in, professional careers, right? Because they're doing legal work and things like that. And so I think, yeah, there are still plenty of Satanists out there that like meet that stereotype. Like, they've got piercings and tattoos. I've got tattoos, no piercings. Um,
Mm,
but I think, again, it's like there's a range of people in every religion, and Satanism is no different in that way. TST is no different than other churches in that regard.
mm,
Um, and again, I just think that that's evidence of like a really strong, popular belief system that resonates with people, no matter what walk of life you're in. Um, and so, yeah, I think this is what I was going to say, right? So people in the satanic community tend to have a few things in common, I've noticed. Um, one is that they tend to be a little bit dramatic. Um, and
how
I,
so?
well, I just, I think it starts from a few different places. Like, one is we're all largely outsiders. We're used to being outsiders. We've
Yeah.
either been othered by Christianity or in some other community, right?
Mm,
There's a lot of like LGBTQ people in TST. There's a
yeah.
lot of neurodivergent people in TST. I would say, almost everyone that I know um, has described some form of religious trauma in their lives.
Mm,
And I think that's a big part of what drives them here, because
yeah.
when you've been like othered and, and ostracized from a community that you've probably, been grown up in, right? Or been
Mm,
indoctrinated into, or enculturated into is maybe a gentler word. Um, then what are you left with? Where do you go? Like,
yeah.
those feelings of isolation are quite real, and they they bring people together just like any other emotion would. Um, so I think when you look at the community in terms of those things, like, it
Mm,
makes sense that it's coalesced this way. They're just people who have found each other, um, right? And they've found a common way of believing and being in the world.
mm. It's almost like an outsiders club then.
It is in a lot of ways, right? And I think the sort of stuff that you allude to, like that visual stuff, well, the performative stuff, like, that is just sort of also a part of being an outsider, right? It's
Mm,
being sort of, marking yourself as physically distinct from the people around you, which I understand the impulse to do.
yeah. So I feel like this is a big one. Do you think like so looking from the outside, you'd think, oh, this is like Satanism's crazy, all this, like you're gonna kill babies and drink blood and all that.
Right.
Then you look in, like I am now, and then you find that it's actually more like, especially this what's denomination is more individualistic and like actually quite. It actually it reflects a lot of people's views out there right now.
Yeah.
And then, do you think like behind these like almost like good values, um, there's like a hidden agenda? I mean, it would be hard to get this answer from like someone who works at the Satanic Temple, but like, do you
Oh,
feel like there is like, in
so
your honest belief?
do you think that like I see. So are you asking if all of like the socially progressive stuff is like just a smokescreen to like bring people in so we can eat their babies?
No, not taking their babies, but like more. I mean, maybe one day, you know, maybe one day. But yeah, kind of. It's more like yeah, to grow, and then eventually like push different beliefs on later.
Like so that's certainly not an agenda that I've heard anyone articulate. Um,
Yeah,
if I'm being honest, I would
mm,
say that that sounds like something that is way too complicated for us to pull off. Um,
yeah, okay,
I don't think like like we're not that it's not that deep, bro. Like we're not that clever. Um, like it's yeah, I mean that would be like a level of like planning and organization
yeah,
that like
not,
we've yet to
yeah,
achieve. So
yeah,
so no, I definitely can tell you that that is not the case.
yeah,
Again, like people can believe what they want to believe, right?
mm,
There's there's conspiracy theories for everything. There's plenty of examples where people use any kind of belief system. Christianity, there's cults of Christianity that like abuse children. Like
yeah.
there's all this stuff out there. People are just people. Religions just have a lot of
People be people.
they have a lot of power. And when you have power, some people use it for good and some people do shitty things.
Yeah.
That's
The
just
reason I asked is because you know how like you could put actually look directly at Christianity or Islam or maybe Judaism. I don't know much about Judaism. It's on the checklist. It's on the bucket list. But yeah, like how they did the Crusades and all that.
right.
Like it's like it was almost like a hidden agenda to just conquer when it
Oh,
when
yeah. So, I mean, there's definitely a reading of Christian history that is is basically like about coercion and violence, um,
yeah
where, they've co-opted pagan rituals, pagan holidays, in order to control the behavior of people that they
yeah
found other and spread their own beliefs. They have absolutely done so through violence. Even if you look at missionary work and how they use sort of like technology and like Western and ideas of Western democracy to
mm,
coerce people into believing in Jesus.
yeah
It's a long and sordid history that
yeah
doesn't get a lot of attention. But it needs to be
yeah.
openly discussed because it's
Especially in the UK,
yeah.
back when like it used to be full of paganistic like religions, and I don't really like the word paganistic. It makes it sound bad, but like just different religions, but they
This,
are paganistic.
I mean,
Um,
the fact that it sounds bad to you is the result of
exactly,
Christian influence, right? Like that's part of the
exactly, yeah. But yeah, it used to be full of it, and then like in Romantic times and like Anglo-Saxon times, like it all changed, didn't it? You know?
yeah. It was a concerted effort um by the early-ish Christians
Mm,
to spread their beliefs by co-opting others. Um,
mm,
and some groups went willingly. Some groups were like, "Oh, this is cool. Let's do this instead." And some groups were forced into it, and some groups were just murdered. Like, you know, um,
all right. So do you think one day, if you guys gain that power, would you do the same thing, or would you just accept their religions for their religions and still let them be?
so that's an interesting question, and obviously, I don't have a crystal ball.
Mm, it's
I'd
very
like
bright in the future. Like,
right. I can maybe conjure a demon and get them to tell me about the future, but um, so I don't know. I would hope that we wouldn't. Uh,
yeah,
but people being people, I suspect that it's possible, right? And
mm,
what I always tell people, and then, again, this is one of those things that is like individualistic to my own particular Satanism, but
yeah,
I believe that the fullest expression of Satanism would be an end to all of the Abrahamic faiths. So
yeah,
Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Satanism would all simply like disappear, right? They would sort of coalesce into some kind of, more naturalistic belief system. But as
Mm,
we know them, they would simply be gone, because they would cancel each other out.
yeah.
That that's the To me, that's the end state. Um, Obviously, that's not necessarily possible for a lot of ways. Certainly not in my lifetime. I would
Mm.
suspect, but that to me is the goal. But I'm the only one who has that goal, I think. I don't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
Like,
not. I don't think that that's a common belief in Satanism, and I just don't think people are thinking that far ahead. Um,
I don't know. I remember reading that somewhere though, that
did you?
some other
I would
people.
I would love to know where you found it because I've never
I
heard
think it
that.
was on Reddit. I
Yeah.
was looking at other Satanists to try and interview. You know,
Yeah.
I
Well,
want I want to hear it straight from the horse. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
I want to be pitched. I want to be like, you know, let me get
Uh,
the full brunt of Satanism.
well, I'm certainly not here to pitch you on anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
But but yeah, if you could find where you read that, I would really appreciate it because I've not heard that articulated before, from anyone else.
if I
Um,
find out, I'll email.
I thought I
I
came up with
will.
it myself. Um, but every idea is.
So, what do you think most Satanists would view that question that I asked? Like,
I think I think it's
how do you
probably
answer
I think most Satanists would just say that they want to just live in a pluralistic world
that?
where they have their beliefs and other people have other people's beliefs and everyone
Yeah,
just,
everyone gets along.
yeah, exactly. Totally.
Totally unrealistic.
Yeah. Yeah, like equally unrealistic perhaps. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, I think that's probably most people's end game.
yeah. It's understandable though. You know, shoot for the stars, maybe land on the moon. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean it's
Do you get
not
what
a
I'm
bad
saying?
dream, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's all my questions though. If you like have any questions for me, or you know, would like to say anything else about Satanism that I haven't really asked, that most people do ask, that you feel like people should know about, like what would you say?
No, like I feel like we've covered so much of it, you know. I think that all the little bits that I try to work into every conversation, I feel like we've covered. So uh,
Mm,
I can't say there's more to add, other than, if you have other questions, feel free to reach out. Like I said, I do this all the time. I'm happy to respond over email.
mm,
I'm happy to put you in touch with other people too, because like I said, everyone's Satanism is different. So,
yeah,
um,
yeah. I think I'd like that, please.
yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Like if you find like someone with like a very varying opinion to you, that would be good.
Well,
So you can get
so
like two sides of the coin, you know?
yeah, I mean, you probably want to talk to someone at Church of Satan then.
Yeah, that's very hard. I tried to go on their website and like it was like it was very vague. Let's just say that.
Um, yeah, they're not particularly active. I don't think they have a whole lot of members anymore, and
Mm,
um, it's it seems like they've got such a bug up their butt about TST kind of stealing the Satanism from them.
yeah.
They very much feel like they are the only true Satanists in the world, and direct descendants of Anton LaVey, and just really look down on anyone that is not, or that claims to be a Satanist and is not a part of the Church of Satan. Uh,
Mm,
which at this point is just a silly thing to believe, I think.
mm.
Um,
So how do you view um that denomination? Like your personal view of that denomination? Because obviously you looked into that as well before coming TST, right?
yeah, yeah. And
So how do you actually view them?
so I think it's a really important part of satanic history, right?
Mm,
Anton LaVey,
yeah.
for all his failings, was like really brilliant in recognizing that there was this space for something that embraces all the things that Christianity despises, because so many of those things are actually inherent to human nature. And
Mm.
I think he deserves a lot of credit for that, for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
he's a founding father, you could say.
yeah, I mean, I think, he was certainly like the right person at the right time and like did some interesting things, but he's also just like one person at a time, right? And his beliefs were very libertarian. Um, their Church of Satan is a very sort of libertarian right-wing organization. Um, and like that's fine, right? Like there's plenty of room for all of that within Satanism, just like there's progressive Christians and right-wing Christians,
Yeah.
right? So it's no different. It's not for me. I think it's at this point a bit old-fashioned and kind of like I don't know, like just out of sync with the times. Um,
Is that a bad thing now? Because a lot of other religions, especially like Christianity and Islam, really any religion, like when like the big like conspiracies about the texts were like tainted and changed and corrupted, right?
mhm.
And it doesn't stick to the originals. Um, do you think Satanism switching from like the more Church of Satan, Anton LaVey, theistic type of outlook,
Well,
changing it to
they're
the
still
atheist?
non-theistic. They're still non-theistic in Church of Satan. They don't believe in a literal Satan either.
Or do they not? I
No,
thought they did.
no, they're also non-theistic.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Um, when you get to like Temple of Set, they're sort of more theistic, um, but
Hmm.
no, the
The Order
LaVey,
of the Nine Angels.
those guys are just creepy. Um, they are. I mean, they're like creepy child molesters. They're like they're sick. Um,
Fuck you know.
um,
Well,
so yeah, but Church of Satan, like they're just like a very sort of right-wing, you know, group, and just not for me, right?
so
Um,
almost the polar opposite of this Satanism.
in a lot of ways, yes.
Mm,
I think like they're just their philosophies are very are even very different. It's really just at the time, like in the 60s, LeVay,
yeah,
LeVay was reacting to like hippie culture. And hippie culture was also reacting to like a very buttoned up sort of Christian idea of like, of virtue, right?
yeah,
He was opposed to both of those things. So he found this sort of like third way through the whole mess, the whole countercultural mess, cultural revolution, whatever you want to call it.
mm,
Um, and like it's fascinating and it's important and I value it, but you also need to move forward. Like you need to move on. Beliefs need to evolve.
do
Um,
you think?
yeah,
Why?
yes, because the world changes, right? And we learn new things. And so if you're still just going to believe the same thing that people believed 2000 years ago, then
Yeah,
like then you've learned nothing. And
mm,
it's not like we once knew the truth and we forgot it. It's that humanity's been on a journey to try to discover more and more about our existence and
yeah,
act in the world. And that is a constantly moving process. So this is the Taoist in me speaking now, right? Like it's a process of change that is continual and always happening, and you always are
mm,
in it, and you are always making your way through it. And that's how all belief systems need to evolve. Otherwise, you get you get these sort of well, A, you get people that are just sort of so out of touch that like they're just irrelevant.
yeah,
But you also get these people who are so vehemently opposed to any kind of to anything new, right? Any kind of challenge that they
yeah,
turn violent. And that's horrible.
yeah. I mean, not necessarily always violent, but
Well, they can be,
I
right?
think it can be, yeah. But
It breeds violence, I guess.
I feel like people like to stick to the old beliefs, right, and not try and change it and interpret it differently because they like that stability, which I feel like, especially in the neurodivergent community,
Mhm.
and like really, just yeah, I'm just gonna stick to the
Sure.
neurodivergent community. Like they love that stability. A lot of them do. So it's odd that like the TST has a lot of neurodivergent people,
Yeah.
even though like most neurodivergent people I know, and I come from a family of neurodivergent uh,
Mhm.
people, they love that stability, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I mean,
So
the routine of it, the
yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. So that's certainly fair, right? And I think you would probably need to talk to some of the more neurodivergent members of our community to really understand
Mm.
how they feel about it. But I think
Yeah.
certainly ritual is one of those things that provides that.
Mm.
Like the repetitiveness of ritual, for what it's worth, the like standardization of ritual, um,
Yeah.
right? Those sorts of things may provide that stability. But also, I think there is there does need to be this underlying recognition that stability can also be community, right? When you've got a community that stays together, no matter what
Mm.
happens around it, that is also a form of stability, right? It may
Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
you're the
Like a
ship in the
family.
storm.
Like
Yeah,
you have disagreements and all this and all that, but
right.
like as long as you stick together, it's that stability. It's that
Yeah.
home base.
Yeah, it's the ship in the storm.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, there's that. Especially I
Mm.
think after you've been pushed out of what seemed like a stable community because they told you you didn't fit in there, right? Like
Yeah.
that's a really damaging thing. It's a really
Mm.
traumatic thing. Um, Especially for someone I think who needs stability, right? Like
Mm.
you can imagine how that's very disorienting to say the least.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people do. Obviously, not everyone, but a lot of people do.
Yeah.
They like that stability.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I get it. I get it. I
I've
like
never looked at it in that way. Like that's community instead of more the belief system. But it actually it is very like wow, like you know what I'm saying. Like, that is definitely one way to look at it, and I see how it works.
yeah. Um, because even I mean, Christian beliefs evolve and change too. I mean, that's why we have so many flavors of Protestantism, right? Like,
Yeah,
people were just like, no, 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 this other thing, right? And then they change and they splinter and they splinter. And I think, honestly, like the internet has made this so much, like, given this like so much momentum, where
mm,
like you can start a new sect of your religion, with like 100 members in like the blink of an eye. Um,
yeah,
and it probably, flames out just as quickly. But, that's happening all the time. It's a dynamic process. Um, and so I just think you need to embrace that dynamism and that change and move with it.
mm. That's cool. That's cool. I was gonna ask something else. I can't remember. You know, I can't remember. Um, what was I gonna ask? Um,
It's all right. You can always hit me up. You know where to find me.
all right, cool. Yeah, thank you very much, though. You've covered a lot. If I know you said you're not trying to pitch, right? But
Great.
could you just pitch like for the people out there, you
Yeah.
know, if you could pitch it, like that's kind of what they want to hear. Like that's what I want to hear.
Well, wait.
You
So
know,
who is hearing this?
who would be hearing this? Like my YouTube channel, it would go on my YouTube channel. It would, I mean, whoever wants to watch it. It's
Okay.
not, it's not it would be like the general public, the
Okay.
people with that stigma of Satanism is killing babies and eating them. You know what I mean?
Got it.
Just kind of unwinding it, and it's really like the way, like me, right? Those are the type of people who are gonna watch this.
Okay. So, um, you did not tell me this was going out on a YouTube channel for public.
Oh, did I not? Oh,
No.
sorry.
No.
Is that okay? Or not?
So, yeah,
If it's not okay, it's fine. I can just talk about it a
no,
bit
no.
rather.
I think it'll be fine. I don't really have a problem with it. So yeah, but now that I know, I'm not going to change any of my answers or anything like that. Um,
Oh right, would you
so
change your
I guess
answers?
so. I guess you got like a really natural.
Yeah,
You can guarantee your viewership that they got a really natural reaction out of me. Um, oh, you're frozen.
hello.
Oh,
I cut out.
can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah. Sorry, you froze there. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I will. I can get you the audio and the transcript of this, or the video, I guess too. Um,
Yes, please. Yeah, because I'm gonna really ask every person, every type of representative or really like just any type of member of a religion to try and pitch me, you know? I know it's not really like you're not supposed to pitch it to people, but
No. And in fact,
but
yeah, I mean,
but it's like
we don't
no,
proselytize. Like we legitimately don't like we just don't do it. It's
yeah, that's an answer within itself, bro. Like that is a pitch within its
yeah,
non-pitching.
maybe, right? There's
Yeah.
something to be said for that as like a um as an advertisement. But
Yeah.
um yeah, I'm not gonna try to pitch you.
That's absolutely fine. Thank you very much. It's been lovely talking to you, Mr. Savage. That is a cold name, by the way. That is an absolutely cold name. Did you change your name, or is it like you're
Yeah,
actually?
so Satanism, like, so one of the things that is interesting about Satanism is like it does have this tradition of choosing a Satanim, right? And a name
Oh,
that is not your name. And partly that is one of protection, right? So there's people out there who probably want to hurt us. And so we make it a little bit harder for people to figure out who we are in
oh,
our day-to-day lives. Um,
almost like a maiden name.
yeah, I mean it's a pseudonym like any other.
Yo.
Can you hear me?
Uh, If you can hear me, yeah, we're probably gonna have to wrap it up here. If you can hear me,
Yeah, my
oh, I can hear you now.
yeah, my power
Cool.
went out. My power went out. Sorry. Um, there
Oh,
was like
right.
there was like a scheduled power outage in my neighborhood um,
Oh, right.
that I completely forgot about. And so the power's out. But
Oh,
um,
that's all right.
anyway, oh yeah. So lastly, Satanims. So yeah, they offer some protection. They also like are a form of empowerment. Right? It's a way to sort of
Mm,
create create a identity for yourself within Satanism that is distinct and different from the person you are outside. So who you are in Satanism is based, yeah. So who you are in Satanism is based on, how you act and how you are within Satanism, and not, your job
yeah.
title or your education or anything like that. Um, it also makes things really confusing sometimes because you don't know who's who. Um, and
Yeah.
Yeah, and slightly more like ineffective, honestly, because um, I think there's a lot of times when if we knew people's real names and what their real jobs were, we'd be more effective, right? We'd be
Yeah.
leveraging our networks, and
Yeah.
so we don't get a lot of that, which is sort of a double-edged sword of the whole thing. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, so yeah, that's
In your
that.
personal belief, do you think they should change it?
Do I think what?
Do you think they should change that then?
Well, no.
Like change it to real
No.
names or?
No, I really, I genuinely like it. I enjoyed, the process of picking my Satanim. It's really
Yeah, I
meaningful.
think that's cool.
It's meaningful in a lot of ways to me. Um, but
Mm.
I would hope that we get to a place where we can be more public with our Satanism and just simply have those two identities coexist, very naturally. Um,
Mm.
right? So that, everyone can know who I am as a Satanist and as a lay person. Um, and there won't be so much distance between those two things.
Cool. Well, so do you ever do you work in law?
No, no, I don't. Um,
Right. You said you were a lay person, or you work with lay people.
oh, well, I was just using that term as like someone outside of religion, right?
Okay.
Yeah, like a not in a non-spiritual role or something like that.
Yeah. 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 Well, thank you very much. I don't really have any more questions.
That's cool. I'll stop
Um,
the recording.